Good morning all. So today we are working through powers, so multiplying and dividing algebraic expressions for 1.2. So if you have q times q times q, we all know that this is q to the 3. Okay, so if you were to have something like q squared times q to the 8, okay, what do you do to the powers? So we need to remember that what this actually is, this is actually 2 q's here, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 q's. So let me just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 8 q's all multiplied together. So essentially you have 2 q's and then 8 more. So what you're doing is you add the powers. So this is the same thing as q to the 2 plus 8, which is q to the 10. Okay, so when you are multiplying two things, you add the powers. So if you have things that are different letters in it, so say you have 2a times 3b, well, a, let's do b squared. So you do 2 times 3, so 2 times 3 is 6. You have 1a and you have b squared. Okay, if you were to have maybe something that's a bit more complicated, so maybe 5ab times 6ab squared, okay, you're going to have 5 times 6, which is 30. Then we have a times a. Okay, so I'm just going to do color code them. Let me just... Oh, that's not a different colour. Hang on, let me just colour code them all. So let's do 5 times 6, which is 30. Then we'll go to that. Then we do a times a, which is a squared. And then we go to b times b squared. So we essentially have 3b, so it's b to the power of 3. Okay, so that is what's involved in multiplying powers. The next thing that you need to be able to do is dividing powers. So if you have, sorry, my dog's just in the room. If you have x squared over x, okay, so essentially what you have, remember that x squared is this x times x, and what you can do once you have a fraction like this, you can go through and you can cancel one on the top and one on the bottom. Okay, so this is the same thing as x. Okay, because we have 2 on the top and we've divided by 1. So what you do is you actually you have x2 minus 1. So another example that we could have is y to the 4 divided by y squared. So this is the same thing as saying y to the 4 minus 2, which is y squared. Okay? Other examples that you may have is you may have some numbers in front. So you may have 3y squared divided by maybe y to the 4. What's going to happen there? So when you have a bottom heavy, we can do the minus. Okay, so we could have 3y squared minus 4, which is just going to be in 3y to the power of negative 2. Or you could have, so you have 3y over y. Okay, we can cancel 2 off, so we have 3 over y squared. Okay, these two things are actually the same. So this is a little bit more complex, but just make that look like a 2. But they're actually the same. So a power to, like a negative power, is just actually meaning that you're dividing by that letter to that power being positive. It's the same thing, because you just have to minus. So what else could we have? We could have things that have mixed numbers in them. And you might have to simplify some numbers. So say you have 7y and z squared divided by maybe 14z. I like to do my z's with a cross in the middle. Okay, so 7 over 14, that's the same as a 1/2. Okay, so we're just going to make that a 1/2. Now remember, we might have to erase that one, or you can leave it, it's fine. We have y, and we're not dividing that y by anything because there's no y in here. So we're just going to have the same on the top, so it's just going to be y on the top. And then we have z to the power of 2 divided by z, which is z. So the answer actually is yz divided by 2. Or you could have it as 1/2 yz if you wish to write it out that way. It doesn't actually matter because they're actually the same thing. Okay, let me just go over maybe another one. Let's have some negatives. So we're going to have -2 x, y, z divided by, actually I might make that -4 on the top, make it a top heavy number, divided by -2 x squared, y squared, z squared. Okay, so looking at that, you need to think, right, what is -4 divided by -2? Well, actually, let's just think about what is a negative divided by a negative. Okay, that is a positive, because remember, if we have two negatives, that they're going to end up being positive. So we now need to think about what's 4 divided by 2. Well, that is just 2. Okay, so we know it's going to be 2. So let's draw a fraction line in. Okay, now let's think about our x's. So we have x divided by x squared. Well, that's going to leave us with 1x, but 1x along the bottom. Okay, now we have our y's. Oh, it's very similar. So we're just going to end up with a y along the bottom. And then finally, we have our z, which is the same. So that is our answer. An alternative answer, but in this case it'd be a little bit more messy, is 2x to the -1, y to the -1, and z to the -1. Don't worry if you do not understand this part. This part is actually probably a little bit more complicated, and it is also messier. This one is perfectly acceptable to leave your answer as, and in fact that is how the book will leave the answers. Okay, so hopefully that helped. So today you are working through your education perfect task that is compulsory. You must complete all 3 tasks by the end of this week. I highly recommend that you work through pages 10 to 11 today. That is all on these things up here, and it's very similar. After this, or around the same time that I upload this video, there is a timeline that I am going to upload that is a live document. This I will be linking to different things, including these short videos on how to do things. It's going to have pages in your workbook. Because I'm unable to see what pages you are actually completing in the workbook, I highly recommend that you do them, and when I say that they're compulsory, please actually do them. This is for your own benefit. For me to test your knowledge, I will be doing some quizzes, and this will keep me, I'll be tracking everyone's knowledge, and making sure that you're all working as you should be and understanding everything as you should be. So hopefully this video helps. You'll probably hear from me tomorrow because I'll have another video about powers of powers and we'll be doing some square roots. You won't be getting a video on Thursday or Friday, so next week you'll have some more. Lucky you. I'll talk to you later. Bye.